Hey guys, welcome back. BDC Care here. We're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice, and I guess just kind of back in a more general sense too. This is for the week of October 13th, 2022. The current character challenge is New 52 Superman. That is a 1 week repeat. The required characters for that are Flash, Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman, who are bronze, and silver respectively. If you're looking at the lowest tier, you can get them. Mm-hmm. So relatively easy for a newer player to either already have these or have the resources to get these.
Which is what we like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's an additional reward here. So the rewards are normal for completing the ladders at each difficulty, but in the expert difficulty specifically, you get a chance at a free dead shot on ladder 4 on the 10th fight. So you either get the dead shot or one of the other two opponents, and the other two are just silvers. Mm-hmm. So you do get one sort of additional character either way, and it's a chance for it to be a pretty good one.
Right, but it doesn't unlock. It's just a copy of the card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, New 52 Superman's passive is Rage of Krypton, which is Superman receives plus 100% basic damage buff for accumulating power, stacks up to 3 times and can't be rinsed, and Superman takes 15% less damage with every Justice League teammate, which is Batman, The Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, Cyborg, or Wonder Woman. He's got 1,300 attack and 1,500 health. He was last available on the 16th of December, 2021.
Right. Yeah. So he's got really good high stats. And I think he's an okay card on his own. It's worth mentioning, like going into his passive a little bit. So it's got a 2-part passive. The second part is decent. He maxes out at 30% decreased damage because he doesn't count towards his passive. So he needs 2 teammates. Each will give him a 15% reduction in damage taken. The first part is the most interesting. And that shouldn't come as a surprise since we always talk about the offensive potential of teams. And it's for every 2 bars of power that he generates, he boosts his basic damage by 100%. It maxes out at 300%. And even if you spend power or have it drained, you don't need to hit a full 2 bars. It's cumulative. So as long as you've generated 2 bars. So let's say you generate 1 bar, do a special 1, and generate another bar and do a special 1. That still counts.
Yeah, and it counts even if you sort of keep generating power after it visibly shows it as full, right?
Correct.
It's the actual power that is being fed into him. So if a hit generates a certain amount of power, that hit counts for the same amount towards his ability, whether or not he's at a full 3 bars or not. It doesn't matter.
Right. So it's only basic damage. It does not include special damage. So the dilemma is this. Do you gear him to generate power faster to take advantage of his passive? Or do you make him more of a tank so that you let his passive take care of his offensive potential and use his gear slots to make him harder to kill? So it's an interesting topic, and you have to, how our thinking has evolved. We have to look back on what the situation was like when he was first introduced.
Yeah.
There was no Tantu Totem, no Master's Death Card, so power generation was slow. New 52 Wonder Woman was already around when New 52 Superman was introduced, and she could give him power, but it took so long for her to generate power, and she was only giving him half of the power that she spent. It just wasn't practical to try to exploit this passive. So after Tantu Totem Master's Death Card, everything changed. Wonder Woman could generate a huge amount of power. She could pass along to Superman, and by the time you needed to bring him into the fight, his passive had already boosted his basic damage a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't have to waste slots boosting power generation, and you could use his gear slots to make him harder to kill.
Yeah, because at that point you also don't really need to boost basic damage anymore because you kind of get diminishing returns, right?
Right.
Because those are all percentage-based damage boosts. So, you know, like an extra 70% is more of a drop in the bucket at the 400% that he's already at. It's like a much smaller incremental benefit.
Right. So we had him in our original Justice League team, which we will link in the description. And there's lots of different options, but if you really want to unlock his potential, he needs New 52 Wonder Woman. You have plenty of other options for a third teammate. You could boost his power generation with Regime Green Lantern, while also reducing damage taken by 15% because Green Lantern counts as Justice League. You could boost his damage reduction by another 25% using New 52 Shazam. And the main reason he's on our Justice League team anymore is that it still takes time to boost his damage, and sometimes we need a basic damage dealer at the beginning of the fight. if we want to get through the fight quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So what's interesting, though, is the footage that you're watching right now as the backdrop to what we're discussing is an attempt to use them differently. Hawkgirl is there to make the tag in and tag out faster, and we've made him a special specialist, which is one way we've talked about where he just increases power generation, right? You are activating his passive very quickly. When you tag in with Tantu Totem Master's Death card plus Ibis Stick for power generation to make sure he gets full 2 bars right away, you've triggered a 100% boost to basic damage already. If he knocks out the opponent, the first opponent with a special 2, he gets his 2 bars back again, which is generating another 2 bars. That's another 100% boost to damage. So after knocking out the first opponent, you've already boosted his damage, his basic damage by 200%, which is almost as much as you can get with 3 gears that only boost basic damage, right? Because 70% I think is the max. 210% versus 200% for just doing a couple specials.
Mm-hmm.
So you can really see how quickly he'll boost and max out his basic damage to 300%. The problem is that he's still your special specialist, so he does more damage with specials. So there's nothing... 15%, the way we've done it with Hawkgirl, the 15% damage reduction doesn't make him particularly tough or hardy, because we're using all 3 gear slots to maximize his power generation. It's still an effective team, though, because you can see in the background, because of how much damage he does with his special 2. And his basic damage attacks can be a good fallback when he's facing someone that evades specials, like Wally West or Dawn of Justice Batman. But you're seeing in action this sort of dilemma, where in order to make one thing happen with his passive quickly, you're not getting the chance to really take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. So there we go. Today is the 125th week of a repeating pattern that we saw first in May of 2020. We've had 2 complete runs of a 43-week cycle of challenge characters, and we are 39 weeks into our 3rd cycle. So, we're 4 weeks away from closing out that 3rd complete run. If the pattern holds next week, we expect to see Earth 2 Hawkgirl, and this 43-week challenge character run has 23 that are missing from it. So there's 23 that right now we have no way of accessing properly other than, packs if they're in them.
Mm-hmm.
So this week's multiplayer reward is Alien Artifact, which becomes a mother box. It gives you, when it's maxed out, a 28% max health increase, a 30% chance to blink against Special 2, and the evolved ability, which is 100% power drain chance at the start of the match. It was last available on the 10th of March 2022. For the online rewards, were 93 weeks in a row of a consistent pattern. We've gone through 3 cycles of a 31 season reward, and we are just starting. We're like at our...
Next week we'll start
next week. Yeah. Next week should be the start of the next cycle. So we're just through 3 complete cycles.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing's missing for multiplayer rewards, thankfully. We should see Cassandra Cain Batgirl next week, as long as the cycle holds.
Right. And this isn't really a legendary piece of gear. Despite it being a 4.5-star gear, it's not that great. We have always been a little bit biased towards using offensive gears, so it's already got a sort of that going against it, right? Because it's defensive gear. The max health increase, it's good compared to other health increases, just not for us. 30% chance to blink against Special 2 became pretty much obsolete and useless once the Tantu Totem was released. And it's, if anything, actually, when we're using New 52 Wonder Woman and we see Mother Box, that's actually great, because if the opponent blinks and dodges Special 2, that just means we're doing another Special 2. We're giving our teammates another free bar of power for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it just gets us where we need to be faster. The power drain can be a bit useful only because it works against the first slot opponent, no matter who on your team is holding the mother box. But the way we've set up our teams, it doesn't matter, because our first slot card doesn't need power.
Mm.
And, you've got 9 slots for gears. Using up 1 slot for this, it's too huge an opportunity cost to make it worthwhile. So we very rarely use Mother Box.
Yeah. So there we go. In the store now, we've got the Hawk Girl Earth 2 bundle for $24.99. It's the same price when we last saw it in 2021. It is included next week's challenge. It does include 100,000 power credits. It doesn't unlock it for promotions. And so, if you think that there's any chance that you're going to be able to actually beat the challenge next week, there's no reason to buy this. And if you don't think you're going to be able to beat the challenge next week, there's also not a great reason to buy it, because just one copy doesn't put you in a great sort of position when you don't have any way of getting more copies easily at all. We also have the Blackest Night Pack 1. It's the second week. It is $24.99. It includes Martian Manhunter, Hawk Girl, and Batman. And so out of the Blackest Night characters, it doesn't include Doomsday, and it doesn't include Flash, which, Flash is, out of them, I would say, probably the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. We also have the character bundle Suicide Squad that is also in its second week. It is also $24.99, and that comes with Suicide Squad Harley Quinn, Suicide Squad Joker, 2 random gears out of 5. And so the 5 gears are the 3 Suicide Squad companion gears, and then the 2 signature gears for Harley Quinn and the Joker. And you have a 35% chance at the signature gears and a 10% chance for each of the Suicide Squad companion gears.
Right. And, alright, so Survivor Pack, 40 weeks now in a row. There's also the character bundle Batman Universe, 45 weeks in a row. And Most Wanted Pack, 52 weeks. That means it's been a full year. These are packs that used to cycle in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think there was a time when Most Wanted... It's been so long now. Most Wanted Pack, when it was still... You could buy it with power credits.
Mm-hmm.
It was in there for an extended period of time. We just never kept track of it the same way. But a year.
Yeah, after a certain point, I don't know when we almost start treating them like, the bronze, silver, and gold packs, which we don't announce the presence of.
Right.
We also have the cycle of celebration packs for 300 nth metal, which for a while has just been wiped and has had all of them available. It's 37 weeks for the Joker and Shazam, and it's been 39 weeks for Aquaman, because it used to rotate every 2 weeks, and so there was that 2 weeks where Aquaman was by himself before everybody else showed up to the celebration.
Right. He was partying on his own.
Yeah. In our Survivor, we have the LexCorp gear set until the 19th of October, 2022.
Phantom Zone is finished. Fight 62 is still broken, where the last fight you can't actually play it. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was, as expected, Raven, Superman, and the Arkham Knight. This coming weekend is probably going to be Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, and Martian Manhunter. Link in the description to a Reddit thread from Devlin16 that goes over the complete breakthrough cycle.
Mm-hmm. And normally we say that we talk about the glitches in the first week of our every month, but last week we had a bit of a weird one, right? Where I was not able to film at all because I was on my way home, and you were
in the middle of the sea,
barely able to film
with barely any data. It was funny because the data would come in and out, so every once in a while it would sort of upload a little bit, and then it would just stop and hold and say there was another 20 minutes left before it would finish uploading. And I even stripped it down. I did it shorter, didn't go over the packs, did limited video because I could make the file smaller, and it still took a long time, so I didn't really have a good opportunity to go over all the details. So if you want that, go back to September 1st of 2022, our recap. It's got all the details of our discussion about the glitches and how they work, and little minor things that aren't maybe not covered as clearly in the video as we might have wanted. Mm-hmm. The only thing worth mentioning, though, is that as far as the challenge goes, the challenge reset has been confirmed to still be working on the current New 52 Superman challenge.
Mm-hmm. So there we go. And to finish up here then, we would like to give a huge thank you to all the lovely folks who support us on Patreon. That is BomboBen, Consul Peasant, and Edwoon at the top tier Last Word, Sinemac and Mohammed Albshaiti at the Your Message Here tier, Shawn Farrell, Daniel Simonson, Aaron Maule, Michael DeVries, Brandon C., Irvin Ruiz, Eddydoo, and Hoshi127 on the credited level, and Chris Wolff, Scarlet, Dani, Awesomegamer241, Pavu RS, Gavin, Mallott, and Isfar E, the gratitude level. Thank you so much for your support, and thanks so much to all of you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Komoda.